It is Garhoud Sprint Night. That is our feature, a listed contest, 7 runners, a nice field assembled. Although small in size, it looks to be a pretty competitive event, and we'll preview that one there very shortly. Let's head to the first race. This one's set to go at 1:30 UK time. It is a 6-furlong sprint, and I find it very, very hard not to be in the corner here of Union Security, who did cop the penalty for the win. He comes into this carrying a little more weight, but I don't think it will be too much of a difference. I think he's the benchmark here of this group of juveniles. He comes up against a fair few horses that he competed against already. Look, I gave an honourable mention to Law of Pharaohs. He could be an interesting runner coming across from France with that one run at Chantilly so far. Musaba Al-Maheri's had a great start to the year. Michael Costa saddles up too. I think Masood looks the pick in the black cap for Ray Dawson. I think hopefully we'll see him running a good race and competitive race as well. Spacetown also caught my eye there. I'm against 6 Speed. I think gate 10 again here. He proved, unfortunately, that when put under pressure, if a few things go wrong, he does crumble. So although I expect him to win a race at some point, I don't think tonight will be the night going off his wide draw. It's going to make it very, very tough, and that start is going to be costly. So Union Security for me here in race number 1. On to race number 2, this one over the 7 furlongs, set to go at 5 minutes past 2 UK time. A little bit more of an open contest. A lot of these horses, we don't really know their full potential just yet. And going off what we saw from Devon Island last time out to the races, coming out of that trial, it's hard not to look away from Ruler of Time here for William Buick and Charlie Appleby. Godolphin have made a return to the dirt this season, and Devon Island certainly set the tone as a horse who could not only be a serious contender for a derby, but potentially beyond that as well, as a nice horse here to contest in dirt features. Ruler of Time comes out of the same trial here. I expect him to run a good race. He draws well in 5. Honourable mentions to Lino Padrino. Excited to see him get to the races. Murham, Connor Beasley for Ahmed bin Hamish, who has had a great start to the season with his horses on debut. And War Fuel catches the eye. Christian Demuro returns to Dubai, and he jumps on board for Doug Watson and Abu Bakar Kadora. But it's Ruler of Time for me in a very open contest for race number 2. Back to the 6 furlongs for race number 3, a handicap 65 to 85 rating race for the 3-year-old and ups. It is set to go at 20 minutes to 3 UK time. Tough race to assess. I mean, Sir Harmony was a little disappointing on face value at Jebel Ali for that first run. We've seen the return here of Arigato Gozaimasu on 2 occasions. She comes into this third up. I think she's had plenty of chances to really get a couple of these horses exposed early in their campaigns and potentially beat them for speed. So I'm against her here. I landed on Tourist. He could be of each way quote here, something at a bit of value for you. He was a really good up the hill at Jebel Ali, and although Meydan dirt, very different kind of surface, for a horse stepping out onto the surface of dirt for the first time in any way, shape or form, it was certainly a pass mark. He could be a horse that may benefit from a flatter surface like Meydan. He's a horse I potentially will see coming back to Jebel Ali at some stage. But this looks like a nice place for him to continue on his campaign, second up for Doug Watson, and looking forward to seeing him step out here. He looks a potential chance in race number 3. I'll side with Tourist. Race number 4 is the Ford Marquee. We head over the mile here for the first time this evening. It is set to go at 3:15 p.m. UK time. We've got a nice competitive contest here, and a couple of new elements as well. 2 horses that were visitors last year we saw contesting on the dirt. It's a 10 from Len, who was with Amy Murphy. Silver Sword, Dylan Cunha returns to Dubai and gives Silver Sword a bit of a run on the dirt, just testing him out nice and early in the season. As for It's a 10 from Len, it's now a local horse trained by Doug Watson and came out and won in its dirt debut. So very exciting to see how he continues on with it after that. Look, I've lent away from them here. I think there's plenty plenty of horses on the way up here who do have better dirt profiles. Narato was impressive. I think he's the on-top selection for me. If there was horses to beat him, maybe Grey Boss, who had everything go wrong in the race last start, 3 wide the trip and still was able to get the job done. He looks a big threat. Same can be said for potentially Military Artist down the bottom as well, along with Gamekeeper, who's usually consistent at this time of the year. But it'll be Narato for me. I thought it was a really impressive win, and if he's able to learn anything from that and gain a bit of confidence from that win, we should see him going to the next level. At 10 to 4 UK time is the 5th event on the card over the 1400 metres. This one for 250,000 dirham. We've got a couple of familiar faces, a few horses returning as well. Destructive, an interesting horse coming back here. He came over as a juvenile with Michael Bell. He since went back to the UK and had a great series only on the all-weather. Now he's been purchased by Dubai Racing and he comes back to the care of Bhupat Seemar, a now locally trained horse. So good to see Destructive back. We'll see how he fares back on the Meydan surface. He's still trying to find that elusive win on the track. Kanjar is a strong contender here. He's won races at lower grades by convincing margins. I'd be excited to see how he goes with Antonio Fresu in the saddle. I think he's a big hope. Telemark probably looks the best of the Raba racing horses for Simon and Ed Crisford on the night. He's the one I think could be making the biggest impression for the yard on Friday night. Outside of that, a couple of these horses could go well. African Candy on his day could be sharp enough. Look, I went with Kanjar as my top selection, but it's not a high confidence race here. I couldn't be stepping into anything with confidence. The Garhoud Sprint is our feature race. It's set to go over the 1200 metres. They're going to fly along here, the 7 runners, and it's for 500,000 dirham. Dark Saffron, hard to go past the Golden Shaheen winner. He returns here second up after a nice first up performance. It looked like a bit of a track gallop, to be fair. He wasn't up against much at his level. He is tonight, though, and it's exciting to see him back in very nice sprinting company. Mufasa's an interesting horse. He's only 1 rating point behind Dark Saffron. We'll see how he returns to the races. Colour Up for Doug Watson and Patrick Dobbs, a horse who draws the ace here. He's always been second to Tuz. There's no Tuz here in the Garhoud Sprint this year. Al Nassib, a consistent campaigner, and we'll see how he goes. Raba turned a few heads at Jebel Ali, 58-1 up the hill, and we'll see him back at the Jebel Ali Sprint, I'm sure, later on in the season. He'll be suitable there, but he earned a few points for that, and we'll see how he fares on a flatter surface here at Meydan. But it's Dark Saffron for me in the feature. I think he'll be a short quote, and he'll be very hard to beat. Race number 7 is the Lincoln Navigator. It's set to go at 5 p.m. UK time, 2,000 metres. It's one of our staying events for the night on the World Cup distance of 2,000 metres. I didn't have a lot of opinion in this race. I think there's a lot of horses returning. Very hard to be confident in one. La Resh has been sharp enough early in his campaigns, so I sided with him in this as my top selection. Potentially Moonblade could run a good race. Adra de Vries, who rides predominantly for Fauzi Nas, has taken this ride here for Marwan Al-Badei. So I'll be excited to see how he fares in this, unless Goal Soldier Go they wanted to claim with the 62 kilos. But good to see a push from Adri de Vries to head towards Moonblade. Maybe that may be worth some attention. He's drawn a good gate. Ablan for the Crisfords could go very well. And if I was to mention one more, maybe Izaj, Connor Beasley on board for Ahmed bin Hamish. Very, very low confidence race. I'll stick with La Resh, hopefully fit enough to run a good race. Last race of the night is over the 1,600 metres. It will go at 5:35 p.m. It's a non-winners contest. A couple in this field have really been knocking on the door to win. I've gone in the corner here of Frost Fire. Richard Mullen will ride for Masaba El Maheri. Had a nice trial over 1,000 metres on the dirt here at Meydan. Since went to the races at Abu Dhabi and was on the rail, barely tested, and was making good ground on the winners without even being let off the bit. So I think that race on turf, even though this horse will probably excel more on the dirt going off his breeding, we will see him go better here for this second run and his dirt race debut. So looking forward to seeing how Frostfire goes. I think he could be each way odds as well, potentially one to look at a bit of value. Elusive Trevor, he's had his chances, but I think he is a horse who could knock on the door. He drew an inside gate very similar to what he does on Friday night, and he ran second to Dark Saffron last season on one of those races. That's good form, better than you'd see for most of these in the race, so I'm willing to give him one more chance, even though he's not my top selection. Potentially Historic Times could run a good race. I also gave honourable mentions to No Escape and also Amjad as well. If Amjad drew a gate, he'd be a lot closer and higher in my selections. But it's Frostfire for me as a potential value play on the card.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.